What if the absolute most, like, selfish thing you could do for your own brain chemistry today was to just give away your time?
Or your knowledge, or even your money.
Right. Because we are constantly told, that phrase, the more you give, the more you receive.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an ancient religious text. It's the bedrock of basically every personal development book on the shelf, and it's always the standard advice from highly successful people.
Always.
But if you are anything like me, or probably anyone listening right now, there is this very loud, very cynical voice in your head that just assumes, that's just a fairy tale.
Yeah, fairy tale, we tell people to make them behave nicely.
Exactly.
And honestly, if we look strictly at the external evidence of daily life, that cynicism is entirely justified. I mean, the physical world can be incredibly unforgiving.
Oh, absolutely.
It certainly does not operate like some cosmic vending machine where you just put in a good deed and a tangible reward drops out the bottom.
Yeah, we have all lived that reality check. I mean, you go out of your way to help a coworker meet a deadline,
Yeah.
and you get absolutely zero gratitude.
Nothing.
Right. Or you volunteer your incredibly rare free time for, like, a community project, and someone else totally takes all the credit.
Oh, that happens all the time.
It does. Or, even worse, you offer genuine, vulnerable kindness to someone, and they just use it to manipulate you.
Yeah, that's the worst one.
So when you tally up all those real-world outcomes, giving doesn't feel like this universal law of abundance. It feels like pulling the lever on a slot machine where the house almost always wins.
Which is exactly why the text we are examining today, the abundance mindset, how giving transforms the giver, completely shifts the focus away from those external payouts.
Right. It takes a totally different angle.
It does. The core premise we have to establish for this deep dive is that while the outside world offers absolutely no guaranteed immediate return, something profound happens internally.
Like biologically.
Yes. The very millisecond you choose to give, an undeniable biological and psychological transformation triggers in the mind of the giver.
Wow.
You aren't waiting for a delayed reaction from the universe. The reaction is, it's instantaneous within your own nervous system.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because if the external rewards are a coin toss, we have to isolate what is happening under the hood when we share something.
Exactly.
So think about your smartphone when the battery drops to like 5%. What does it do?
It goes right into low power mode.
Right, it drops into low power mode. The screen dims, the background apps stop refreshing, and the processor just throttles down.
It shuts down everything it doesn't immediately need.
Exactly. It abandons all the high-level complex features just to keep the core operating system alive so the phone doesn't just die.
That is a phenomenal framework for understanding human neurobiology under stress, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When the human brain operates in what psychologists call a scarcity mindset, it goes into its own biological low-power mode.
Oh, I see.
So, the amygdala, the fear center of the brain, it detects a lack of resources. And it doesn't matter if that lack is money or time or social status.
It reacts the same way regardless.
Yep. The brain floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol, and just like the phone, your brain starts shutting down non-essential functions.
Wait, really? Like what?
It throttles your creativity, your long-term strategic thinking, and crucially, your empathy. It essentially forces you to fixate entirely on immediate survival.
Wow. Which means giving is essentially plugging the phone into the charger.
That's exactly it.
So when you share something, whether that is, industry knowledge or 10 minutes of your undivided attention or just a word of encouragement, you are forcing a behavioral override.
You are.
You are sending a physical signal back to your own brain that says, I have enough to spare. And that kicks it right out of low power mode.
You are signaling to your nervous system that the environment is safe. The text describes this state as the abundance mindset.
Okay, that makes sense.
By taking an action that basically assumes you have enough, you reduce that cortisol spike. You begin to process reality from a state of baseline security rather than a state of chronic panic.
That is fascinating.
And the neurological loop here is just incredible because every subsequent act of generosity provides more evidence to your brain that you are safe, which makes you more willing to give in the future.
Okay, but wait. If this is purely about having enough resources to avoid that low power mode, explain the billionaires who just hoard every single penny.
Ah, the billionaire exception.
Right, because they clearly have unlimited abundance, but they never give. How does this framework account for people who have essentially, won the capitalist game, but still act like they are starving?
Well, that's because society constantly makes the mistake of equating material wealth with cognitive abundance.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the text draws a very sharp distinction here. Scarcity is not defined by your bank account. It is a neurological fixation on loss.
So the amount doesn't even matter.
Exactly. A person can have $1 billion and still be entirely trapped in cognitive scarcity. Their attention is so intensely fixated on the fear of losing their wealth or their status that their brain filters reality entirely through the lens of threats.
So the fear dictates the reality. I mean, they might have a literal mountain of food, but their nervous system is functioning as if a famine is coming tomorrow.
Fear becomes the primary driver of every single decision. They might have incredible industry knowledge, for example, but they are terrified that mentoring a junior employee will somehow lead to them being replaced.
Right. They see everything as a threat.
They have endless opportunities, but they refuse to open a door for anyone else because they view success as a zero-sum game.
If someone else wins, they lose.
Exactly. If someone else gets a slice of the pie, they honestly believe their slice shrinks, even if the pie is completely infinite.
But, okay, if giving fundamentally changes this internal feeling, if it shifts us from scarcity to abundance, how does that internal feeling change our external real-world reality?
That's the big question.
Because the text boldly claims that our life outcomes will actually improve. So how do we bridge that gap between, I feel safe inside my own head, and my career and relationships are actually getting demonstrably better?
Well, what's fascinating here is the downstream ripple effect of human behavior.
Okay.
When you break out of that scarcity mode and genuinely adopt an abundant mind, your baseline behaviors just fundamentally shift. You stop guarding your ideas and you start collaborating openly.
Because you aren't terrified anymore.
Exactly. Because you aren't paralyzed by the fear of looking foolish or losing status, you actually start taking calculated risks. You innovate.
Yeah.
You invest time in building authentic relationships rather than just interacting with people transactionally to see, what you can extract from them.
You become someone who adds value to a room rather than just taking up space.
Exactly.
I mean, imagine two people at a networking event. The person in scarcity is just frantically handing out business cards, looking over your shoulder to see if someone more important just walked in the room.
Ugh, we've all met that person.
We really have.
Yeah.
Desperately trying to secure a lead. But the person in abundance is listening. They're introducing people to each other.
Yeah.
And freely offering advice without, asking for a contract first.
Right.
It's so obvious who you were going to call the next day.
And over time, those behaviors compound. People naturally trust individuals who contribute value without constantly keeping a rigid scorecard.
Yeah, nobody likes the scorecard.
They want to work with you. They want to promote you. They want to support your projects. And the tangible outcomes of those compounded behaviors are what people looking from the outside often dismissively call good luck.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the text goes right for the third rail of self-help.
Oh, boy. The law of attraction.
Yes, the law of attraction. And I know the minute we say that, a huge portion of the people listening are probably rolling their eyes.
I don't blame them.
Because the pop culture version of this is incredibly reductive. It's this idea that if I just sit on my couch, close my eyes, and think really hard about a Ferrari,
The universe is just going to drop one in your driveway.
right, the universe is going to magically materialize one because they sent out good vibes.
Yeah.
I assume this text isn't pitching cosmic wish fulfillment.
Far from it, actually. It grounds the concept entirely in cognitive behavioral science.
Okay, how so?
The mechanism at play here is the reticular activating system, or the RAS. This is a bundle of nerves at the base of your brainstem that acts as a filter.
A filter for what?
Well, at any given second, your brain is bombarded with millions of bits of sensory information.
Right.
If you processed all of it, you would literally go insane. So your RAS filters out what it deems unimportant and only lets through information that aligns with your dominant beliefs and focus.
Oh, like the classic car example. When you buy a new car, say, a blue Honda.
Yes, exactly.
And suddenly you see blue Hondas at every single intersection. They're always on the road, obviously, but your brain was filtering them out.
Until it mattered.
Right. Once the car became relevant to you, your RAS started letting that information through.
Exactly. The RAS proves that we do not experience objective reality. We experience the reality we are configured to see.
Wow, that's heavy.
It is. When your baseline belief is scarcity, your RAS is programmed to scan the environment for threats, slights, and reasons why things just won't work.
So you miss the good stuff.
You literally will not see an opportunity, even if it is sitting right on your desk. But when you practice giving and you configure your brain for abundance, your RAS suddenly lets in the connections, the micro opportunities, and the creative solutions that were always there.
So it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's rooted in neurobiology.
Completely.
You notice a micro opportunity, you act on it because your amygdala isn't drowning you in fear, and the outcome improves.
Yes.
Other people look at that chain of events and assume, oh, you just got lucky.
Yeah.
But the reality is that an abundant mindset just makes you a more capable, observant, and resilient human being.
You stop filtering out the good. Your real-world results improve drastically. Not because of a magical universe rewarding you, but because your altered perception changed your behavior, and your new behavior changed your environment.
Okay, but if the entire purpose of giving is just to hack my RAS so I get better real-world results, if I'm just doing it to get lucky and succeed in my career, isn't that still fundamentally selfish?
That's a very fair question.
Yeah, and it turns the abundance mindset into this calculated, almost sociopathic corporate networking strategy. How do we keep this from just being a tool for the ego?
Well, that is exactly why the source text brings in ancient philosophy to act as a counterweight to the purely psychological view.
Oh, okay.
To understand the deep structural character transformation that giving requires, it introduces the Buddhist perspective on generosity, which is known as dana.
Donna.
Yes. In this tradition, the ultimate goal of giving has absolutely nothing to do with generating wealth, improving your career, or even getting some karmic return on investment.
So the goal isn't what you get.
Not at all. The primary function of dana is to reduce our attachment.
Attachment to what?
Everything. The philosophy argues that the root of human suffering is clinging. Clinging to our possessions, our status, our time, and ultimately our ego.
Oh, wow.
The physical act of letting go of an object or your time is essentially training wheels for the mind.
So you are practicing a physical movement to achieve an emotional result.
Exactly. Every single time you physically let go of something in your hands, you are simultaneously practicing the act of letting go within your own heart.
That's a beautiful way to look at it.
Every sincere act of generosity chips away at the ego's demand to be the center of the universe. The text notes that people who give regularly aren't just changing the lives of the people they help. They are actively dismantling their own inherent selfishness.
They're changing themselves.
They are moving away from a life driven by fear and moving toward deep inner stability.
Okay, I totally see the philosophical beauty in that.
Yeah.
But in the real world, I have to raise a massive, very practical concern for you listening.
Go for it.
Because if the ultimate goal of giving is just letting go and reducing our ego, doesn't that inherently mean we're supposed to become a doormat?
The doormat trap.
Right. Should we just give unconditionally to everyone who asks, even if we know they are totally manipulating the situation? Because that just sounds like a fast track to emotional and financial bankruptcy.
It absolutely would be, which is why the text makes a critical and often overlooked distinction here. Buddhism does not advocate for blind giving.
It doesn't.
No, it advocates for wise giving, generosity that destroys the well-being of the giver or enables the destructive habits of the receiver is not considered virtuous at all.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Often, what we call unconditional giving is actually just conflict avoidance dressed up as kindness.
Wow. Ouch.
Right. We give because we feel guilty or because we desperately want people to like us. That is ego. That's not generosity.
So wise giving requires actual discernment. It's looking at what will genuinely compound in someone's life rather than just putting a Band-Aid on a symptom. Like handing someone cash might solve their problem for 24 hours, but giving them your skills, offering education, or providing a real structural opportunity, that has the potential to transform their entire trajectory.
And the text pushes this concept even further with a scenario that directly challenges our standard definition of generosity.
What's that?
Sometimes, respectfully and firmly saying no is the highest act of generosity you can perform.
Because not every request leads to genuine benefit.
Exactly.
Like if a colleague constantly demands your time to fix mistakes, they completely refuse to learn how to fix themselves. Continually bailing them out isn't helping them grow. It's just enabling their incompetence.
And saying no preserves your own capacity, too. If you drain your internal battery to zero by saying yes to every single demand, you are useless to everyone.
You're back in low power mode.
Exactly. Having the wisdom to establish firm boundaries protects your energy, which ensures you actually have the capacity to give wisely in the future.
And it forces them to step up.
Right. It forces the other person to find a more sustainable, independent path that actually serves their long-term development.
So what does this all mean? If we are navigating a hyper-competitive world juggling, demanding careers, families, and endless responsibilities, and we actually commit to this practice of intentional, wise giving,
Yes.
what is the real long-term return on investment? Why should the listener prioritize giving away their limited time and energy?
The return is massive, but you have to stop looking for it in the form of a bank deposit.
Okay.
The text outlines what it calls unbuyable treasures. When you operate with an abundance mindset over a long enough timeline, you generate deep evolutionary trust from the people around you.
Let's look at the mechanism of that trust for a second. Because from an evolutionary biology standpoint, human beings survived by living in cooperative tribes.
Exactly.
When you give without immediate expectation of return, you are basically signaling to the tribal brains of the people around you that you prioritize the collective over your own immediate selfish survival.
You're proving you are safe.
Right. That triggers deep biological safety markers in other people's minds. They instinctively recognize you as a safe cooperator.
And that biological trust translates into a stellar reputation that literally precedes you in your industry. You build genuine friendships rooted in mutual respect, not just transactional convenience.
The unbuyable treasures.
Exactly. You find yourself presented with career opportunities because people actively want your energy in their organizations. You get to experience the profound psychological joy of watching someone else succeed and knowing you played a critical role in their development.
That's a huge one.
And crucially, when the inevitable crises hit your own life, you find that you are surrounded by a robust network of people who are eager and willing to step up and catch you.
The vital caveat being that this compounding interest operates over decades, not business quarters.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot fake an abundance mindset for a month and expect a sudden windfall of opportunities. It requires a sustained commitment to showing up differently in the world.
These rewards take time to fully manifest, but when they do arrive, they create a quality of life, a sense of security, and a depth of connection that absolutely no amount of financial wealth could ever purchase.
It's priceless.
It is, and it all traces back to a single starting point, a mind that decided to stop operating in fear and start sharing what it had.
So to summarize the journey we've taken through this deep dive, the old cliche, the more you give, the more you receive, is not a cosmic transaction.
No, it's not.
The universe is not keeping a ledger of your good deeds to pay you back.
Yeah.
But every single time you engage in an act of sincere, wise giving, you are executing a physical override to your nervous system.
You are.
You are looking at your own circumstances and declaring, I have enough.
Yeah.
That belief shifts you out of scarcity's low power mode. Your cognitive filters change, your reticular activating system starts noticing real opportunities, your daily behaviors adapt, and eventually the world responds to those new behaviors.
Perfectly said.
A person walking around with an abundant heart is essentially a walking generator, perpetually ready to create value.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the most profound takeaway from this text is realizing that the ultimate prize is not external at all.
No.
No. The greatest gift we ever receive from giving isn't the robust network, the stellar reputation, or the career opportunities the outside world eventually hands back to us.
Then what is it?
The greatest gift is the structural change to our own character. We receive a mind that is remarkably lighter, fundamentally kinder, and ultimately freer from the exhausting, paralyzing grip of fear. You become someone who operates from a baseline of stability rather than panic.
Which brings us right back to our original premise. We usually think of giving as a depletion of our resources. Like if I have $10 and I give you $5, now I only have $5.
The math of scarcity.
Exactly. But what if we completely flip that script?
Yeah.
What if giving is actually the ultimate life hack for your own brain chemistry?
I love that.
Every time you freely give away your expertise or 10 minutes of your undivided attention, you are actively tricking your own brain out of survival mode and thrusting it into an abundance mindset.
It's so powerful.
It really is. So I want to leave you with this final thought to mull over as you go about your day. What is the absolute smallest, most effortless thing you can give away today? Not because you want to change the world, and certainly not because you want anything in return, but just to prove to your own nervous system that you are already rich,